Aloha, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battleship here on the beautiful island of Oahu. This week on the Covert Code, the topic is designing a remote workforce. And my special guest is Cynthia Montgomery, CEO and founder of Montgomery Robbins, a landscape architect company located in Alamo, California. I've had the opportunity to know Cynthia for over 10 years. First, at my original agency, Wind on Water Communications, where I had a business partner. And I'll never forget one of the very special moments that I remember. I was in California, and it was the first time I had met Cynthia in person, and we were out having dinner at a little boutique, kind of trendy wine bar. And she reached across the table and she grabbed my hand and she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I see you." And, she did. And I think that was even before maybe I really saw the full me myself. And that was just a really beautiful moment. So I just love whenever we get to talk. And she's just such an inspiration to me and a real mentor. So I'm so glad that you're here today.
We supposed to start it by crying?
I know.
Here. Thank you, Anna.
Yes. And I think that it's so interesting the idea of, especially from you, of remote, the idea of designing a remote workspace, because just even before we started this camera recording, we were both doing what we love to do, which is fuss and fiddle with little things about design and the perfect place. And for me, it's always just been that everything I want to look at, I want to be beautiful. And I think that we share that. And if we're going to look at something, it should be the best it can be, right? So tell me, how do you, being a designer and coming from this very tactile type of brand and business of art, really, to how do you create a remote work experience?
Okay, so creating the remote, if we're focusing in on creating the remote work experience, I'd actually like to unwind that a little bit of how that came to be because I would like to claim that it was my super smart idea, but it wasn't. It just kind of came to be for us out of service. So I want to just unwind that a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've been working remotely about 13 years before COVID. Okay. Before COVID. So, and how it came to be, first and foremost, is I had a key employee that needed to move for personal reasons. And this person, you all know when you find that person that you're like, oh, I can't live without that person. Like they're amazing. And so it was just an automatic reaction for me to say, you can keep your salary. I'll send you, you buy whatever computer you want, set up whatever workstation you want. We'll figure this out. I don't know how to do it, but I trust you. Let's figure this out. Would you be willing to figure it out with me? That was 13 years prior to COVID.
Wow.
And she was like, what? And she was moving to, so we're in California. Yay, tech. She was moving somewhere else. And so it was a good thing for her. And so we figured it out. That was how it started. And we bumbled and stumbled through figuring it out. But the basis of figuring it out was trust. I had I have all the trust in her. So whatever problems we came in, it was just they were just issues to deal with. It wasn't out there was no distrust in the matter. Okay. So that was the first piece. And the second piece of how this remote actually stuck, okay, is out of service to our clientele. So we are just absolutely blessed to have earned the position in the market of working with very high-end clientele. They're very hardworking. They're very busy bunch of people. Okay, let me just tell you, they're here and there. They travel a lot. They travel for pleasure. They travel for work. They travel, 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 and or working late. Right? Oh, I have a teardrop on my eye still. Um, and so what they didn't want was to slow the process down because somebody was going to be in China and somebody was going to be in Danville and somebody was going to be somewhere else. They were just like, Cynthia, what can we do? We want to keep it moving. So again, out of service, we figured it out 13 years ago. And we bumbled and we stumbled, but we already had that trust with the client. So everything the way we built it all was based on a trust relationship with our client and then with our team.
They didn't even have Zoom then, did they? Didn't have Zoom? Were you guys using Skype? What was your technology that you used, or just regular phone call?
That's a great question. I don't remember. I do remember that we found this thing called Dropbox, working, and we were like, well, let's try it. We don't know. And so we just kind of kept trying stuff. And then some stuff we would try technologies and then we didn't really like it. And so then we would move on. And so then I actually don't remember, what did we do in the beginning?
Bit on House, because I think that was kind of early on too. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. We were one of the very early firms into House. It was brand new. And one of my team said, hey, there's this thing. I think we should do, it. And we're like, okay, do you want to? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll start it. And so she did. It wasn't a good, I can't claim the great idea. It was, you have great people and they see what they see and then they bring it to you.
right.
So, what was your original question to me?
Well, just, I think designing this remote work, and I think that I love your answer because it really is based off trust, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of companies. Because I'm also, most of our teams remote,
Yes.
and I love that, but you do have to. It's finding that person who can motivate themselves, and can, and not everyone can, right? Not everyone really is attracted to that type of work style. They feel like they want to be in a room with other people
Yes.
and yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really important. So I would also say I made so many mistakes until I figured out what my problem so many mistakes in hiring.
Mm.
And let me also share that before this lifetime, so I've been doing this for 35 years. Before that, I was a recruiter. Okay?
Do that.
Yeah, I know. I never told you that.
Wow.
Keeping secrets. Anyways, so I would say for so many years, I made the mistake of hiring the wrong person. Until I figured it out. Culture, knowing your company culture, really knowing it and sticking to it, and then finding someone that matches your company culture and has the skill set that to do it, and does what you said, and so rightly so, some people need to be with other people. So can they do the job? Will they do the job long term? Because it is so expensive hiring people. Oh my God, going through all the resumes alone, it just takes forever. And then because I was a recruiter, I know the shtick. People try to present that they can do the job and that they want to do the job, and they kind of come in and like do all this. You got to trust your feeling. That's why you got to know your culture. So once you're grounded in your culture, you want to set what I strongly recommend when you're interviewing is you come up with 4 or 5, not more than that, key questions that you can ask that lead a person to talk so you can listen for your culture.
Mm.
Do not ask them directly because people are bullshitters.
Yeah. They are. They are.
And people want to work, right? And you're a great company, so they want to work for you, and we're a great company, so they want to work for us. So, and they're not bad people, but I feel like you're doing them higher service by if it's not a good fit for you, it's not going to be a good fit for them either.
Right.
So, kind of got to listen for your culture and ask questions just to get them talking. So they're saying a great question. I love this question.
And it's gonna ask you if you had an example.
I too. I have my questions. A great question is, please walk me through your resume and tell me a couple of things. What did you enjoy most about working there? Okay, you're going to listen. You're now going to hear what they enjoyed most. Tell me, from your perspective, what the company could have done to improve.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're listening for what they say. Okay. And then what is my last question is, can you tell me why you parted ways? So we're not, there's no blame or shame. We all know we've all dated and then stopped dating, right?
Wasn't a good fit, we call that, right?
That's very good. But what you really want is for everybody like you and I are doing right now to talk authentically. And we're all a little afraid to do that. You know, when you get to be a certain age, or I'd chosen anyways, after I got to be a certain age, just to be my authentic self. And that's just easier for me. So you either like me or really dislike me pretty much right away. So
Yeah.
there's, and that's what you want is people talking.
I think that that's really, really, really good advice and can be so easy to do. Especially and then I wonder if now with the role of AI, right,
Yes.
creating, resumes for people,
Oh,
if it might be even more interesting because they really didn't even write their own resume. And then they're gonna have to talk about it. It's like, well, then that could be really telling.
yeah, and one of the things I wanna hear people speak and, okay, so back to let's link it back to what we were talking about before of I trust our people, and something I treasure about you, Anna, is you have a lot of integrity and personal accountability. You are not a person I don't think I've ever heard you blame anybody ever for anything. You're always just looking how to improve. Okay, let's look at the situation. Let's look at what happened. And I really respect that. So I'm listening for that when somebody is speaking about their past job or themselves. Are they bringing personal accountability for things? That's so important. It's so important. You know?
Yeah, no, I think that and really, thank you so much because that is a very important thing for me
I
is
know it is.
that and then and I think that the most thing that I get most like railed up about, whatever, riled up,
I think I know, but you go ahead.
is about fairness, that and when people like, take advantage of others or it's not fair or they're not, then I get like really like,
I've
real
seen
grind
it.
my gears, you know?
I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
It's adorable. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Like I will just
adorable.
ferocious like like bite your ankles kind of thing. Yeah.
Wouldn't the world be better if that's what we were all ferocious about? That we all just wanted each of us just to do the right thing, the best we can at the time.
Right.
And that what if our best was we stepped on somebody's toes or we did something wrong, we say we're sorry and we learn from it and then we move forward. Like that would just solve a lot of problems if we all just did that.
Indeed, and it's like, I was just watching, I know we're both lovers of Dr. Joe Dispenza and other meditations, and
Yes.
just really being in like realizing that you can change the past and the future now. From
Yes. That's actually the only time you can change it.
right, and people are like, oh, and even today I was thinking about that, and like how people are like, oh, I'm not this or I'm not that or I've never, that wasn't well, but you're recreating it right now, and so that now that you're talking to this person is what you can foresee in the future. Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we just want to bring the very, what I would encourage is you just want to hire the very best people that you can. And for me, I can train anybody, honestly, anything. You're looking for the quality of the person.
Yeah.
You're looking for, have they proven that they can learn things? I mean, we're all different. We all have different. Most of us don't have the intelligence of Annie here. So she's the smartest person I know. And we're just looking for the smartest person that we can hire that has an aptitude, I like to say, an aptitude for the job. And then you can train them in anything. So just go for the kindest, dearest, most integrous person that you can find.
Yes,
That is the most important thing.
that is, and I think that this carries over into every single business. Really.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, that most things and are they do they work well with others? I think, for me, one of the big things today is just communication ability. Bottom line, I mean, yes, I'm in an advertising, which is about communication, but one of my fears, or I see happen often, I think we all have is as different types of now people are texting right now people are we're all I'm a big fan of texting and to get to instead of an email necessarily right but the person who will pick up a phone and call you right is becoming fewer and fewer. People would rather just sit and, Slack or email back and forth versus just, picking up a phone and calling, and I think that I'm looking for someone who wants to talk to me, as a team member.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So
Sure.
all plays apply.
Yes.
Only if you're qualified and have aptitude.
Right. Yeah. And like,
A lot of aptitude, folks, to work for covert communication.
yeah, like willingness, and I think a lot of it's also the with you too, right? In design, like what is there's a known now, but
Yes.
a lot of it's the unknown, and that's the exciting part about it. Like, what
Yep.
is the next thing? A
Yeah.
lot of people get like afraid, and I hear it all the time. Like, oh, it's technology is it's always breaking. We're and
Mhm.
well, congratulations, like that's part of life in general. Like what worked today is not necessarily going to work tomorrow. Things change constantly, and having that mentality that you're done is your problem because we're never done, right? Just like your home, you have to constantly be keeping your
Innovate. Innovate.
innovate
Got
and
to
fresh.
have a personal culture, especially if you're the leader of your firm, of innovation.
Yes.
So, I want to address the AI
Yeah, do it.
and people's fear. You'll keep us on time to when we need to cut it.
We don't worry about time. We just we're free spirits. It'll end when it should end.
Okay, very good. Okay. So, I believe that first of all, we're such at the beginning, the very, very beginning of AI. I heard an expert in the field of AI. He said that somebody asked him, well, Jim, if this was a baseball game, what inning are we in terms of AI? And he laughed. He goes, we're in the parking lot, a tailgate party. He said,
We're
we are,
tailgating.
we are tailgating. We are so much at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my feeling is I think back to way, way, way back when everybody walked everywhere. Okay. No cars. And somebody figured out, gee, there's got to be a faster way of getting places. And somebody, got on a horse. And then somebody, they just kept innovating. I feel, but there's the human going the places on the horse, the car, the train, the places. You need the human who's going the place. I feel AI is me strapping on a saddle on a horse. We're using it as horsepower, but we are the humans going places, and it's our humanity and our hearts that actually we're not that's what we need in the pairing of the speed that we can get with technology, with wrapping in our humanity. There is a place for every person on the planet. I believe if you follow um follow what's within that guides you, that really brings you joy. Sorry to sound so schmarmy here, but, just follow what truly feels right to you to do, and then loop in the technology and bring your humanity to it, and everybody will have a perfect job.
They really will. I mean, yeah, because then you can do exactly what you want to do, like, there's so many things that no one wants to do, or they're not being done, I mean, as a for instance, and I struggle with this all the time, with clients, not using their CRM, right? And then the struggle of like, oh, like, this isn't the right technology for us. Well, no technology is right for you because you're not accepting that you have to use it, right? And in this way, and I have a new client now, and he's got this product. It's called Connected Conversations. I think someone like you would really like. So instead of like I have, Zoom and my phone and Slack and Microsoft, and you have Teams, and I have this, and and we have to update all these different places. Well, it just takes that away and says, you know what, that concept, like let them, like Robinson is like, it's like just let them pick what they want, and from that device, I could update everything on every and wherever someone else is, right? So I don't have to go into Slack and email and here and there. Like
Yes,
we can use this connected conversation, and that
yes,
can even stretch across partners because the supply chain that he specializes in um, really is, there's all this trickle down, or they call it the bullwhip effect. When, like when exactly when we talked about COVID, like the toilet paper shortage, and then that trickles down through the supply chain, and by the time that they get the signals, then there's too much toilet paper being ordered or being created, right?
I still remember the text you sent me. Cool. And you're like, and diarrhea isn't even a symptom. I still laughed about that. Why are people buying toilet paper?
Oh, it was so weird, but the panic, and
I just put that out. That's okay.
you know, oh gosh, but I think it's just about, like, if we really think about this technology and like how it can really help us if we're honest with it and we're sharing this data with it and we're, being truthful to it. Because what this has uncovered for me is that how untruthful we, and maybe we don't mean to be, but we're not. It's kind of like it goes, there's a little bit of a redirect, but kind of reminds me of, when we did Nielsen television scoring back in the day. Like, how did we, so Nielsen would send people in the mail a little survey and like a $1 bill. I don't know if you ever got one.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was like, hey, help us rate, write down what you've watched this week.
yeah.
And here's $1 that, or $2 or whatever it was. And then you felt like, okay, well, you're going to do it because they gave you money and the reciprocity was in full effect, right? But and that's what we had at the time, and it was as good as it could be. But we realized later was that people, they didn't actually do it. They did it from memory. They didn't really do it from what they actually watched. They'd be like, "Oh, well, usually on Tuesdays I watch Wheel of Fortune." And so they were doing it because they weren't doing it in real time, and they were doing their best, but it wasn't necessarily the truth, right? And that skewed the television rating. So then we started getting digital boxes. We started to see, well, oh, well, it's different behavior than they're telling us that it is, because we could actually watch their behavior, right? But it's that, like, switch between what is real and what we think is real, and what we're communicating, because that's part of this problem around with AI, right? People are so scared of it taking their job that they're not using it or being truthful with it.
Mm.
And if they were, or if we were as a community, I think that you're right. Then it's like everyone could have the perfect job, because you it's going to do all the weaknesses, and you'll be able to anticipate needs and all of that.
Something that I found very uplifting, with this AI expert in the field said that, and maybe this is scary to some people, but I found it uplifting, is that 45% of what AI can do is administrative. And so I thought, okay, how can I use that to support me to better do my job? So if all of us can, how can we bump up and add value to our team? How can I personally add value? Let's not be scared, because scared we're just going to be ostriches with our fannies in the air, right? Let's let's find out what could I personally do to add value to my team, and to use technology to be honest with it. You could even ask it, which is fantastic. Tell it what you do. Tell it that you want to add value to your team. Throw out some suggestions, and then just be a role model for your firm. Lift up those around you, like your favorite other people, maybe even not your favorite, maybe not the assholes that stab you in the back, just leave it to themselves. Your favorite people. Um, but look to add value. Don't let fear grip you.
Yeah, and you're right, and not only that, but the AI, I think people think that it's like the gospel truth, and the fact is we know it's learning too. It's learning from us, right?
Yeah.
And so you can disagree with it. Like, I love, like, I was watching
Oh, yeah, I do.
oh yeah, and be like, talking about ethics, and it's like, well, that's not true. What about this? Or like talking about, and it's like, oh, that's a good point. Like, and it communicates with you. Like, oh, or I missed that. Thanks for pointing that out to me. And like,
Yes, yes.
and we can train it to be like, like a superhero psychic. That it could predict these weather, issues we're having, or solve problems of supply, and just, and I think we really are, and then freeing up this extra time to be innovative.
Yes, yes. So that's what I encourage, those of us that are scared. And I have had people on my team that are scared, and I've just shared what I've shared, here, is that don't be scared. let's use it. Let's how can we add more value? How can we have it not do the things that what's the least favorite part of your job? What is the least favorite part of your job? Start there. Do that.
Yeah, exactly. Let AI do it. Exactly. And then let's talk about in the world of design and architecture and landscape architecture, how is AI, how are you guys using AI now? Can it be even help like further creativity and like create more ways that you can show someone, like are you using any of that like rendering or what's it called? Like the
Yes.
augmented reality to imagine this thing in your yard?
Yeah. So, okay, so in a couple things to say about that is there's a little because of Instagram and all these little things that people see, all these, like, wow, like you can have that. And there's like a yard zen, I think, and they just do like pop up the whole visual of your landscape. If you have a perfectly flat, I'm going to answer your question, but if you have a perfectly flat square backyard, that's probably a really cost-effective choice. But if you have a yard that has any spaces or it's a remodeled space, then it's going to be trickier to really get it right. And that's where the problems come into play. So people think now, oh yeah, well just, click the button and just it'll pop, the design will just pop up. That's not how it works. You have to, it's like code. If somebody said that to you, Anna, well, just push the AI button and then the code will just come there. And that's not how it works.
Exactly.
That is actually not how it works. And anybody that's telling you that's how it works is trying to sell you something.
That's right.
And whatever they're trying to sell you is not going to be high quality. Sure, they'll get their money and you'll get something, but it's not your fault that you don't know that that's not the high quality.
Or the risks, I always think about risk,
Oh
it's
my
like, what
gosh.
is the risk of this? You're even thinking
So
about it.
many.
They'd start digging and now they're going to hit plumbing lines or, whatever else, a tree trunk or something, I mean,
No,
that's my technical way to describe it.
that's great. At least once a year. And so, part of the back end stuff that we do is, because we want to make sure we're doing it right, because we are a licensed landscape architecture firm. So we are, which is different than a design. So we are licensed. We have we're bound to do things correctly. And always once a year, I get somebody who's hired another firm and who went to go get permits and they figure out they can't do what they've already paid for.
Oh, wow.
So you just really you want to use AI, but you want to bring your human experience to what you're doing. And I think in the future it will get we're just at the beginning. We're at the tailgate party, right? So I think in the future there'll be a lot more improvements. Right now, given the complexity of projects that we do renderings for people, but you got to put in all the information, like you for your code. You can't
Right.
just, you could sure, there's a template website, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I was wondering about like goggles. I got a pair of those meta goggles. It's like to imagine what it might be like to
Yeah.
have a like a beautiful backyard, or what do they call the little what is it, pergola. Like
Yeah.
in a pergola or like walk around inside one if that was being used to even to show people different options that they might have, to get more of an idea of what it could feel like.
Yeah, we did that once, except for some people, so we didn't want to take on the risk until it's stabilized. For some people, putting on the goggles makes them dizzy
Oh wow.
and they move around. And when you watch them walk in the space, so we just right now, because I was like, okay, so buy them, we'll send them to our clients, and like send the iPad, we'll send it fully loaded. It's like like that's how I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Innovate in faith, right? But my God, I also don't want the lawsuit that,
They fell off their balcony when I was in walk.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. So it's a little disorienting because most of our clients are not 18-year-olds who are used to being in a video game,
Right.
morphed inside. So until that's, but
Well,
it's but I know it's coming.
is that it's coming, yeah. It's coming. Interesting. So how many different people work for you that are not in California? How big is your remote work environment?
Let's see. Right now, I think we have, uh, 2 2 in Utah, 1 in Tennessee, and then we have some other well, we also consider our team are people like you. So we have a partnership. So we have, Hawaii and other locations. Another firm in Utah. And it's the same principle that we're looking for is the best of the best. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you can deliver. So our core team started here in the Bay Area. So much of us are still here, so right now, like 3 we had 1 in England for a while.
Wow. So I
Yeah.
got a question for you. So a little switching directions a little bit. During COVID, people were really spending a lot of time at home, and because of that, there was a big resurgence of wanting to invest in the home, right? Like, adding these more living spaces. And have you seen that continue post COVID? Are people now just appreciating their homes more? Is there any trends that you've seen emerge?
Yeah, I think it's become more normalized, so people want to work from home and have that option. They actually now want Zoom meetings. Before, I'd always have to. Usually, everybody was very grumpy with me on the initial meeting that we're going to be doing at Zoom, and how in the world, freaking world, can you do landscape remotely? And I would say that's okay. At the end of the meeting, if you want me to come, I'll come to you wherever you are. Doesn't matter. The initial step. This is the initial step. I have not had one person say that I have to go afterwards. And then I even asked them, "So have you had people come to your home?" And they said, "Yes." Don't tell me who they are. Can you tell me how this compares? And this was better. It's like, yeah. So the one part of the answer to the question is now the remote fits people's lives and they like it. They like it that they don't have to pick up the dog poo poo before I go, right? They like that. And people want to work from home, especially in California. Well, and in Hawaii too. I see your big beautiful open, window there. We love that. That's,
I've been heads over there.
oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. That's part of living, and that's why it's important is to actually have that work life balance. I'm personally blessed by having a dream job. I have no plans on ever retiring. Why would I? This is incredible. It's just having the wonderful team around me and us. My husband is also our founder, so that I can just have the work balance that I want, and I work from home too, and that's what people want now. They hear about it from other people, and they want it. So, yeah, it's
They do, and then what are your thoughts on, now it's so interesting, remember I had someone else on as a guest, and they're talking about this shift back, right? That a lot of now big corporations are changing their mind in whatever leadership capacity, and they're making people come back now.
forget,
And
yeah.
that almost is like a return of and I think for women in particular, this is becoming more of an issue, right? Because they were the ones before who had to give up jobs because they had to take care of their family, or it didn't with the daycare or whatever it might happen. But being able to work remotely like really opened up this opportunity for that they could keep their jobs or work from home. And now what I'm hearing is that a lot of women in particular are not going back to the workforce,
Mhm.
and it's interesting.
Well, see, that's where I think the balancing where we were talking about before of you got to find someone that's going to fit. So big extroverts. I'm an introvert, although I fool people sometimes. I love people, but I just relish my time with myself and my plants, my plants. And so if that is what supports you as a human, you should work in that kind of an environment, right? You should be out and with groups of people. If you're a family person, dads and moms, now or whatever pronouns people are using,
Right.
a parent, right? You want to be able to get up early, do a little bit of work, make breakfast, get a little bit of work done, go do these things. You want to be able to do all that. So we just each have to find our way. And it's great that there are some businesses still doing that because then they're providing opportunity for those that want to do that. And the rest of us, we've got to, it's all kind of, there's a lot of turmoil right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it'll be interesting to see, what evolves from the next generation because they're really looking for, what we were very, or I mean, I think I was at the end of that, but the stability, right? Like the older, what we wanted this more like a box, right, that you're fitting into and it's stability and you're kind of achieving these goals in this little set. But the younger generation, these Gen Zs, like they want complete flexibility, right?
Mhm.
They're really attracted to, the unlimited PTO days, and I'm thinking to myself, "How do you have unlimited PTO days?" Well, but it's just conceptual because then they're
Yes.
choosing this, it's kinda like the why I think Uber and some of these other, jobs have become so powerful is that but even in traditional work, that new generation, they're looking for something that is not as controlled.
Okay, well, let me tell you how we figured it out. This just works for us. I don't know that this works for everyone. Okay, so it comes back to the culture, okay, of us knowing our culture and knowing who will fit in the culture. And when I interview, I always say, and this, and my all of the team knows this. The most important thing to us is your life. We are just blessed to have you work here. So as long as you know our priority is your life, okay? And you work here and you will not be micromanaged and everybody is expected to get the job done.
Right. Yep.
You just get your job done. We are all overachievers here.
Yes.
So we are all showing up for each other ahead of the curve. Nobody's if you're going to be things happen, right? We're always ahead of it and looking how we can contribute to each other, but we all honor that each person's life is what's most important. So then what you have to do as an individual, okay? So every person on my team is different, right? So I have one of who I find out what's important to you? Oh, Fridays, I never like to work Fridays. Done. You don't work Fridays. Great. But maybe they work 10 hours all the rest of the time and maybe they work on Saturdays but I just had to put in company rules. You cannot email because we have boundaries. You don't email clients on the weekend. Here's the parameters of what you eat. You can pre-write your emails if you want to. That's fine. So you can get your work done but and so you find out with each person, I like a long lunch. Like for me, it's like, what? Like I would never do that. It's like I get up. I love my long my morning time and my personal time. Then I get up and I go, right?
Yep.
Uh yeah. So that's what's important to me. So you have to find out what's important to each person. You're honoring the individual. So sure, I guess unlimited PTO time as long as you get your work done. Oh, I had another person, she only liked to work at night. She was a night owl. She didn't work during the day. Okay,
Probably
fine.
sleeping during the day, right?
She sleeps during the day.
Yeah.
And so fine, as long as you turn your work in on time, I don't care. So it is honoring them and their life and you simply have to get your work done
Yep.
when it is expected. No excuses. We are not micromanaging at all. So
Absolutely. I
if
feel the
you're
same.
not getting your work done, if you're not getting your work done, then you're not a fit here. If you're not an overachiever and love your job and want to serve and want to be part of the team, if this is all about you demanding, those people don't stay here and used to work here.
That's right.
That's I have a whole list of people that used to work here.
That's right. I think we both had that same struggle, we've talked about those over the years of
Right.
I think when you're a giver, right, then
Yep.
it's easy to be on the other taken advantage of. We'll call it what it is, right?
Yep.
And so this, but you think that we're all getting better at it. I think
I think
it,
we are getting better at I used to think boundaries were rude or impolite or I don't want to be that kind of woman. But having polite boundaries, kind boundaries, firm boundaries, clear boundaries about what's expected is good for everyone.
Yes.
We don't have to be an asshole about anything.
No. No, I think that I think that that's a great place to end. I think, it's just think about, you know,
Assholes. Cheers.
don't be cheers, exactly, to not being an asshole, and really, I mean, I think they're really, especially that's why I just love this meditation that I'm doing. I know, like I just because I never felt more
Let's talk about it offline.
peaceful ever, Yeah. Exactly. So, if for everyone who wants to learn more about Cynthia and her amazing company, you can visit montgomeryrobbins.com. They're also on LinkedIn, and their house account is packed full of so many different portfolios and, how many positive stars you have now. I mean, it's like so many, 10, 20 over the 5
100 over 100.
over 105 stars, not 10 stars, but and so definitely go check her out and to please join me next week as I interview another industry expert on a topic to help you succeed on and offline. I'll see you in the pixels. Aloha. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Covert Code podcast. To stay up to date with all our future episodes, follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means everything to us. Please take a moment to leave a review and share our content with your friends and colleagues on social media. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more digital innovators like yourself. See you in the pixels. Aloha.